In today's world, we are exposed to so much more stress than we have
Enormous level of
ever
stress.
been before.
Enormous. Yeah.
And we aren't taught skills. Like, no one taught me that 5-step process.
One of the fastest ways to maintain and regulate a high stress environment, and one of the fastest ways to regulate when you are in stress, is through breath. Most parents don't know how to regulate. So as a result, when kids see their parents stressed, that's how they learn to respond first and foremost.
If we are practicing these self-regulating tools, then that's what they'll witness. And then one day they might find themselves overwhelmed or stressed, and they start doing the 4-4-4 breathing.
It's like anything, it's a practice. It's got to be a practice. It's not something that you can take as a pill. It's not something that you can read as a book.
It is so good to see you.
It's amazing to see you.
It's so good to see you. I'm just going to dive right in. We're going to go right in.
Let's get into it.
I was thinking about when we first met. The first time we actually met, you were speaking at another event, and this was going on probably 9 years ago.
Wow.
And you were speaking at the event, and I was like, I really like the way that he presents. He's a really good speaker, and I got so much out of your talk. I started on my personal inward journey about 10 years ago. So this was like soon into my journey. So I just wanted to thank you for inspiring me at that talk.
Thank you.
And yeah, we've stayed in touch ever since. I've been on your podcast.
You have.
And now here we are.
Here we are doing it again, getting to riff raff and have a bit of a chat.
I'm so pumped. I have so much I want to talk to you about, but something that I really want to touch on is how you have thrived during COVID. So what has been going on for you in your business and in your mindset? Like, how have you personally thrived during COVID?
Yeah, look, it's a good question. And I think the disappointing answer is preparation. Like, I prepared for this. I started preparing for a financial catastrophe, I guess you could say, or a financial meltdown about 8 years ago. So 8 years ago, consciously, I was like, okay, something big's coming. I don't know when it's coming, but I know something big is coming. So first of all, I'm just going to work my ass off, prepare, save, build a war chest. And that's one of the things I'm very good at. I'm very frugal. I'm very good at, commercialization. I'm very good at making money, but I'm also very good at keeping money. And that comes from many years of sucking at not being able to keep money. I still remember my first year in business, I made $720,000 in revenue, but I think I spent 1.2 million on my Amex. So, it's been a lesson. So look,
the balance. It's like,
the balance is there.
How does that work?
Oh God, it was one of those things, coming from a low socioeconomic kind of background, and then all of a sudden getting into money, you all of a sudden think you need to buy everything you never had because you think that'll make you happy, and then you realize it doesn't, and then you go looking for other things. And for me, I went in.
Wait. So you're saying the new car won't make me happy?
I tried 2 new cars, a house on the water, okay, model girlfriends. I tried everything, and it just made me, I wouldn't say it made me more miserable, but it didn't satiate this feeling of something was missing. And it wasn't until I started to go inward that I really started to, do some genuine healing and not so much fix myself, but just acknowledge the parts of myself that needed to be healed so that I could see myself as the whole person I was and not feel like something was missing. And yeah, that was a huge thing for me. But for COVID, look, massive levels of preparation. And then also, I'm someone that just thrives on high stress, high pressure environments. I'm someone that, for shits and giggles, I will strap a heart rate monitor to myself, throw myself out of a plane and meditate in free fall. When I first discovered I had a fear of heights, I did 200 skydives in 12 months. And at least 80 of those I did with a heart rate monitor on in meditation to get my heart rate below. Initially, it was 100 beats, and I did that very successfully. And then it was to get it below 80 beats a minute. And, outside of that, I pursue high stress activities. I went and trained with the Navy SEALs, the European Special Forces, and not the type of training where you run through mud and puddles, but where you play with weapons in a highly organized and sophisticated way, where it requires you to sequence things where if you don't get it right, you could actually, hurt yourself or hurt someone else. And so for me, I understand that we're only born with 2 primary fears: fear of falling, skydiving, fear of loud noises, playing with weapons. And if you can conquer those 2 aspects of those triggers, then your ability to regulate high stress environments radically changes. And so when COVID hit, for me, I didn't freak out. I got calm. I thrive in high pressure, high stress situations. And when the world started falling apart, my team looked at me like, why the fuck are you so calm? And I'm just like, because I'm built for this shit. I love it. And it's through, again, preparation. I'm someone that used to experience high levels of radical anxiety, social anxiety. And I had to learn, I'm hypersensory. So I'm SPD. So I'm on the autistic spectrum, and I have all of my sensory systems are essentially turned up to high beam. And so by virtue of that, I grew up as a very overstimulated ADHD dyslexic that consciously went about going, how do I learn how to feel normal in an environment where everyone else appears to be, and I feel like that wound up spring. And so, that culminates in the ability to be able to, if done consciously, have a set of tools that you can use in any situation just to stay calm. And, that's what's critical. And so for me, one of the things that's enabled us to stay calm that kind of bookends that is understanding the impacts of stress on decision making. And when we experience stress, when we're in stress, once we've got cortisol flying through our bloodstream, within about 7 minutes, we lose about 50% of our IQ. And I'm sure everyone can attest to that, where when we're stressed, we typically make shit decisions, or when we're stressed, we can't think properly. We have a fog. And one of the things that I've learned is the more we can condition ourselves to stress, the more able we are to deal with it, but the more coherent that we can stay in those situations, so that we have maximum access to as much information intellectually and also consciously. Because again, when you're in stress, not only do you deplete your IQ, but you also create what's called tunnel vision. And so not only can you not access the information you already know, but you also can't see as much. And so for me, that's key, is how do I maintain optics to be able to see as much as possible, and information retrieval to be able to access what I know, but also stay open to the intuitive insights that are required. And, again, when we experience stress, visceral sac in our body constricts every major organ in our body, squeezes all that blood into the, to the extremities so we can run quickly. And one of those organs that's affected is our heart, and the heart is the center for intuition. And if that is constricted, then you're not going to be able to get into those. You're not going to be able to gain access to those insights that perhaps would come to you if you were in a relaxed manner, like you are when you meditate, as an example.
So for someone listening who doesn't necessarily want to throw themselves out of a plane to prepare for high stress situations, because I definitely am not doing that. I have no desire to jump out of a plane whatsoever. But how can we build that resilient muscle?
Great question. And it's like anything, it's a practice. It's got to be a practice. It's not something that you can take as a pill. It's not something that you can read as a book. Resilience is like going to the gym. If you go to the gym and you lift up weights, if you start bicep curls for the first time, if you're lifting a weight that's too heavy, not only is it going to hurt, but you're going to fatigue really quickly. And if you go, oh my God, the gym sucks, I should never do that again, then you're not going to condition those muscles to be able to lift, stronger, to lift heavier weights. And stress is like a weight for the mind. And the more we expose ourselves to stress, so stress exposure is critical, and we call this exposure therapy. We expose ourselves to stressful stimulus consciously and deliberately, but we do it with a set of tools that enable us to regulate the autonomic nervous system, which essentially affects the biology and the neurology of the system. And one of the best ways to do that is through, proper breath practices and proper breath work, and knowing how to breathe. And one of the fastest ways to maintain and regulate a high stress environment, and one of the fastest ways to regulate when you are in stress, is through breath. And the deeper you can breathe, the more you can breathe, the more naturally we are able to reset that autonomic nervous system. And so, what I've discovered is 4-4-4 or 6-6-6. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, or breathe in for 6, hold for 6, breathe out for 6. That is a really fast way to shortcut the diffusion and the regulation of the stress response. But then there's a psychological component where we've got to look at what's making us stressful, and we've got to reassociate what that means. And I've got a 5-step process. And the first step is expose yourself to stress. The second step is breathe, 4-4-4, 6-6-6. But the third step is actually consciously manage the meaning of the situation, because most situations that cause us stress, it's because it's what we think it means based on a memory or what we've been told. And it's important to look at that stress and go, okay, right now I obviously think this is bad because my body is responding in kind. How do I make this good? And so we ask questions like, so what's the benefit of this? How is this serving me? What does this situation give me from a skills, knowledge, and experience perspective? Because when we can naturally get into a space of, oh shit, there's two sides to this story, we can actually build a sense of, well, this isn't so bad. In fact, this is a little bit good. And we can go, well, this is in fact so good that I can actually develop a sense of appreciation and even gratitude. And this is where the biology kicks in, because once we experience gratitude, the body naturally releases and elevates levels of DHEA, which
Mm.
counteracts cortisol. And cortisol is carcinogenic. It destroys testosterone. It makes healthy people fat. It's cancerous. It disrupts the gut system in such a way where we can't process proteins effectively, and the brain isn't able to communicate with the rest of the body.
It
And so
screws up all of our
it,
hormones,
it
every hormone.
screws us so badly. And
Yep.
DHEA, it balances your hormone levels. It's a hormone that naturally increases your metabolism. It's a neural protectant. It fights cancer. And so when we can induce a natural state of gratitude, we stop looking at the situations that would normally stress us. If we do this repeatedly, and all of a sudden we're no longer looking at the situation, I got to try and avoid that. We're going, wow, how do I find situations like this?
Mm.
It's like someone who loves to go to the gym, like, how can I find a better workout? This workout doesn't stretch me anymore. So now I need to find a workout that does. And we start looking for, new and better ways to stress ourselves in a conscious way that's done with an intention rather than just a reaction.
I love that. I love it. It's so powerful because, in today's world, we are exposed to so much more stress than we have
Enormous levels of stress.
ever been before.
Enormous. Yeah.
And we aren't taught the skills. Like, no one taught me that 5-step process in school. Like, I wasn't taught that. Or even just the fundamentals of deep breathing. Like, imagine if we had a class in school just dedicated to breathing and meditation.
It's interesting you say no one was taught this, but also at the same time, in most cases, no one was even demonstrated what this looks like. Most parents don't know how to regulate. And so as a result, when kids see their parents stressed, that's how they learn to respond first and foremost. My mum gets stressed, they get angry. That's what people do when they experience stress. And that's a fundamental key, and a role as parents, being able to demonstrate to our children how to be able to regulate our emotions in a healthy, conscious way, how to be able to regulate stressful situations in a conscious and healthy way, so that the kids look at that and go, so when my dad gets stressed, he doesn't get angry, he breathes, and that's a critical thing that oftentimes it wasn't taught in school, and it would be great if it was, especially for those kids that didn't have someone that can demonstrate it. But it'd be even better, if we had parents that were actually taught how to do it, so that when they are experiencing it, they can show their kids, how to operate.
And children learn, and you have a son, I have a stepson, and children learn the most by watching what their parents do.
They will not listen to, and parents know this, your kids will not listen to a fucking word you say. They won't, but they watch every single thing. They watch everything and they don't miss a beat.
Yeah, so if we are practicing these self-regulating tools, then that's what they'll witness. And then one day they might find themselves overwhelmed or stressed, and, they start doing the 4-4-4 breathing. And you're like, wow.
It's so interesting because I've taught my son how to breathe from the moment he could start talking and start experiencing emotions. I'll say, okay, buddy, breathe. Okay, buddy, breathe. And now he will have something that he'll fall over. And he's 6, but ever since the age of probably about 4.5, he'll get excited and I'll say, mate, just slow down and breathe. And he'll slow down and go, but now in at least 50% of cases, I will see him get worked up and get all excited. And then he'll just go, and he'll start self-regulating, self-initiating, self-managing, which is self-leading. And, that's where all of a sudden you go, now my kid is autonomous. I don't need, in most cases, to remind him all the time, although there might be times I have to, but it now becomes an autonomous behavior.
Such a powerful tool that is setting them up for the rest of their life, teaching them how to breathe. It's so important. I've had Wim Hof on the podcast, and
he's phenomenal.
He is amazing. And he spoke a lot about putting your body under stress with holding your breath, and obviously ice baths and things like that. I've been doing breath work a lot since that interview, and I just love how it feels. I love how I can, self-soothe myself. And I remember when you interviewed me for your podcast, I remember you telling me a story. This was probably, I don't even know, was this like maybe 5 years ago? I can't even remember. I remember you telling me a story that you would put Noah, your son, on your belly and you would just do skin to skin belly breathing. I remember you said that.
Yeah, we still do to this day. Ever since he was born, one of the things that we know is the more physical skin on skin touch, or, it's even referred to as attachment or kangaroo care, by the time a child is 18, the higher their IQ and the higher their immune function. And so, since Noah was born, we did it. We practiced, myself and my now ex-wife practiced attachment parenting, whereby, for the first 6 to 9 months of his life, all he felt was our skin. He would have other clothes on, but even to this day, look, our number one ritual every morning. And my son at the moment, he's going through a phase where I'm letting him sleep with me a lot. The first thing we do every morning is he will lie across me. He'll put his belly against mine, and we'll do what's called belly to belly. And we'll do that to connect. We'll do that to transfer love. We'll do that to transfer healing. I'm not feeling well, Dad. Lie on my belly, and I'll give you a little healing with my belly, and I'll breathe into my belly. And yeah, it's become a fundamental way that we connect, which is echoed in so many other instances whereby he just loves to be in my arms. He just loves to be in my space. And, oftentimes, I have different social habits to my ex-wife. And, for me, one of the social habits I have with my son is we'll literally sit on a beanbag for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours a day, just in each other's arms, talking about what he did at school, or talking about what he did yesterday, or, talking about, the space or the sun or the moon, or, he's got a phenomenally inquisitive mind, and we'll just sit for hours in each other's arms and each other's companies and just talk.
That's so beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah, that skin on skin connection. And it doesn't have to be with a child, even just hugging, the power of connection and hugs is so important
Absolutely.
for soothing our nervous system.
Absolutely.
But what else could we do for someone who might feel like they're in fight or flight right now? Besides the breathing, what else can we do with everything that's going on in the world right now? It's big. How can we help support people to bring their nervous system down, not just during a pandemic, but, whenever anything comes in their life that's overwhelming or stressful, whether it's business, relationships, whatever?
Look, I think it's really important that we develop what we call a way of life psychology, or a practice-based psychology, because too many people are looking for a pill, a book, a drink, a button. They think, well, how else can I? But the other practices, and is looking at what routines can I practice on a regular basis that become an autonomous behavior that I just do compulsively, that add to a high conditioned environment, or a high stress conditioned environment. And the other practices that I'd strongly recommend that I do every single day for anywhere between sometimes 45 minutes to a couple of hours is meditation. Like the benefits of meditation have been scientifically evidenced at such an incredible degree, especially with transcendental meditation, which is Vedic meditation.
Is that what you practice?
I practice Vedic every day. I've done
Vipassana.
I did Vipassana 7 times. That was almost like full contact meditation. And I found that a little bit of a challenge to practice an hour in the morning, hour in the evening. Vedic is 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening. And what's interesting now, I do that in most cases a couple hours a day, but I'll transition between Vedic, which is mantra based, and Vipassana, which is sensation based, where you're tuning into the sensation of your body. And, for me, the type of meditation I do will depend on what my body's saying to me. If I'm going in a mantra, but my body is talking to me, I'll stop the mantra and I'll just start tuning into the vibration of the body. And there's something very special when you can practice to the point where you can close your eyes and you don't feel a body, you feel an energetic signature. You just feel a signature of energy that is just vibrating at a level of frequency that just holds the space. And, when we understand that meditation, within 4 days of meditating, it actually has in what is considered a moderate to a dramatic impact on our ability to retrieve information, and our ability to stay calm. But most importantly, our ability to find flow, and that's the beauty of being able to condition ourselves to stress and being able to practice meditation, is when we are able to deal with stress and we are able to be more well regulated, we find ourselves engaging in flow with far less effort. And it happens in most cases, effortlessly and unconsciously. But meditation has been a massive one for me. And if there's one other routine, it's just, and again, this is going to sound so trite, it's just proper nutrition and hydration. And I eat burgers, I eat chocolate, I eat ice cream. But at the same time, I make sure every day I hydrate myself really, really well, because I understand this is an electrical system. Like, we work in a biotechnological electrical system here. And the more fluid that is within that system, the better the conductivity. The drier that system is, the less conductivity. And every single communication system in the body works on an electrical signal, and that requires fluid to be conducted either in tissue or in fluids. for that information to pass through, whether it be your body telling you something or you receiving an intuition. The more hydrated we are, the more effective we are. And from a nutrition perspective, look, I'm not going to tell people what to eat, but I think one of the most powerful ways that you can regulate your nutritional system, or I should say your digestive system, is by not overloading it. I eat once or twice a day. My goal is to have at least 4 to 6 hours a day where I have no food in my system, so it's clear, and I'm able to, again, receive more information from the environment. Distribute that energy that would normally be constantly bound up with digesting 3 or 4 meals a day, into healing my body, eliminating excess toxins, eliminating excess weight, and keeping my metabolism and my immune function working at all-time high. And when those things are aligned, your body adapts to stress way more easily than if it's overloaded, with too many calories.
And the thing with all of those things that you've mentioned, breath work, meditation, nutrition, hydration, they're all free. They're free.
Mother fathers. It's free. And I often joke about creating, an anti-aging clinic where all we do is we teach those things. Because here's what I know, when you teach those things, I've had clients that you look at them and go, man, within 3 months of them practicing these things, they lose 10 years. No Botox required, no surgery required, and in most cases, no excessive exercise or dieting required. They still get to eat a very holistic diet that includes ice cream and burgers. You just got to know how to feed the system in a way that it requires, not in a way that you've been trained.
Yeah, and you're right. This is an energy system, and the information and the data that you put in is going to affect the way that you show up and how you feel.
So true. And most people, their bodies are working on dial up, because they don't have an effective, their body doesn't have an effective system to be able to communicate between its organs. The 3 most important organs are your gut, your heart, and your brain. And the more coherent those systems are in their communication, the more flow, the more insight, the more intuition, and the more peace we ultimately will find.
Absolutely. This has been so beautiful. You are doing incredible work in the world. I absolutely love every time we get to catch up. You are doing live events, podcasts, coaching, everything. You've got all the things going on. Where can everybody find you and find out more about your incredible work and coaching and everything that you do in the world?
That's super kind. Look, the easiest place to find us is on Facebook. We have a great, tremendous presence on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, even on TikTok, and also the website, kerwinrae.com. If people want more information, they can find out there, whether it be, our specialty really is performance, but we point most of our performance towards business. But this year, we're going to be actually bringing back a performance program for the greater community of just people who want to learn how to do life better.
Yes. I think every single person's like, yep, okay, I want to do life better. Like, who doesn't want to be the best version of themselves and show up as the best, highest version of themselves? Yes, please.
Most people do, but this is the thing. And this is what I find. It's not that most people don't know. Most people know. They just don't know why they don't do. And, that's my specialty, is getting people to do, whether they get them to do what they already know or sharing the information to make them understand so that they now know, but then showing them the construct of, how do I get people to do? And that's my skill is I get people to do what they need to do. I show people how to get things done and focus on results.
And you do a very, very good job of that. Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
You are amazing.
You are glowing. Every time I see you, you're glowing. So life must be good up in Queensland. Must be sunny, because that tan, oh my God.
It is 24/7 sunshine, 24/7. It's beautiful. And it's so good to see you. And thank you for all the incredible work you're doing in the world. Keep going. You are a light beam and a trailblazer. And I'm so grateful to have you in my life.
Likewise. Thank you, Melissa.
Take care.
Take care, Del.